In this tutorial, I'm going to go over how to use the basics of the templates. So in this project, you're getting a Adobe stock template that you will be inserting your visible cities into. And so for example, I have this one open, which looks like this one here. It's this exact template here, where you can apply an image here on the side and an image here on the side. And what's nice about this template is it tells you exactly on the side where to put your images. So for example, for the cover, you're going to put your image here, spine here, and if you'd like to change your background to something different, you would change it here. In order to access the different parts of this, you have to click on the smart object, on the thumbnail for the image you would like to exchange. And so I'm going to use this image here, which was Invisible Cities from a previous year. And I'm going to double click on the smart object. And this is where you place your design. To duplicate from another object or another file, I can go open this up, right click, and go to duplicate layer. And then I'm going to choose which document I want to send it to. And so I'm sending it to the page PSD, which is the inner one. Come back here. It is huge, so I'm going to do Command or Control T, Command 0 to zoom all the way out, and shrink it down to size. Now I could also do this with placing in my object. So I could go to File, Place Linked, and same thing. I could bring it in this way, say OK, and I could place it in like so. So we've got a couple ways to bring in your image. I only need one. We'll just keep with the linked one for right now. And I'm going to have this sort of, I'm going to shrink it down. So what I want to do is have a colored background that's the same as this background color here. So I'm going to click the layer below and then go to my adjustment layers. So click on the little button down here and solid color. And what that is going to allow me to do is then sample the colors. If I didn't select below, it would then put this on top and I wouldn't be able to see my image here. So I click on it, say, okay, cool, done. And then all I have to do is save it. So Command S to save it. Come back to my image here, and now it is placed on the side. Same thing with our spine. I'm going to double click on the smart object, go to File, Place Linked, and I get the same one, say okay, and let's make it really big. Maybe I want it just, I'm just going to cut off part of it. It's totally fine. Just like this. And hit enter. Command S to save it, or Control S. Come back and we'll see that along the side. Now, same thing for adding text, where if I want to add text, I need to do that inside this layer. So I'm going to come back. I double clicked on it, went to T, and say I want to type here. I'm going to type in invisible cities, and notice that it's getting cut off because it is not on top. And I want to change this text, so I'm going to select it all, and let's find a text. We'll just use this one, and I'm going to come over here. Maybe we'll place it in the center, make it white so we can see it a little bit better, and then Command S to save it. Maybe I want a drop shadow underneath, so I could double click on the layer, go to drop shadow underneath, and we'll see that start to come up. Maybe I want it a little more opaque and a little bit closer. Say okay, Command S to save it, and then come back and it is on the front like this. Now, this is where you can really experiment with how you place your text. You could always come in and add other objects. So if you wanted to come back here, you could always have a rectangle going across the top that's maybe white. Maybe you want that as a border on the bottom. And you want your text on top. And right, you could do something like this. You could come in and you could, you can adjust this as you are starting to play with shapes and forms. So now if I do something like this, and I don't love this font, so let's change this. We'll just go, here, we'll go that, and then we will go into our text type layer by going to Window and Character. And then I've got a ton more options, and maybe I want to increase the letter spacing. Something like that. Command S to save it, come back. Let's look at our cover. Right, so now we've got something a little bit different. And this is where you can kind of play around. And maybe I don't want that drop shadow, and I can just temporarily turn it off, select my layer, change the color. There you go, that's a little bit better. And then you can place it directly in the center here. Command S. And we come back. And that's starting to get somewhere. Like that's starting to look much better to me. And this is where you can experiment, have some fun, and try out different ones. And to change the background, you do the same thing. You can put in whatever background you want, or just keep it plain white, or change the color. So if you want to go in and change the color, again, you go to the adjustment layer, solid color, or you could even choose a gradient, solid color, and maybe you want pink, maybe that'll look nice against the green book. Come back and like so.